Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Decks on Deck. This is going to be another classic OG style Decks on Deck video. Just talking about some decks that I'm working on and having paper. The filming will be horrible, and that's just how we do it around here until I can figure out how to edit and probably get a better camera. Nevertheless, the ideas have still been flowing. This is a Pioneer video, and we're going to be talking about 3 decks that I currently have going. The first of which is this one here, which is a blue-red Thing in the Ice Phoenix deck. Let me walk you through it. So essentially we got our mana base for Shivan Reef, which is the Joel land, if you're not aware. 3 islands, 2 mountains. The flippy lands, we got 2 of them. They're pretty interesting and situationally not bad, so we keep it real with them. 3 Spire Bluff Canals, which have actually gone down in price a fair bit, so if you want to get some, now's the time. And just some Steam Vents, and we're rounding it out with 1 Wandering Fumarole. Now, as far as our spells and our quick 1-drops, we have 6 deal 2 damage for 1 mana, and 6 draw a card and something. So 4 Opt, 2 Quicken, 4 Shock, and then we have 1 Magma Spray and 1 Wild Slash. So those are just quick spells that will allow us to bring back Phoenix really quickly. We have, of course, ways to get Phoenix into the graveyard and ways to interact. So Izzet is super good in Pioneer. It's the counter spell you want, it's the removal spell you need, and it's also a way to put Phoenix in the graveyard, which is very advantageous. We have Mizzium Mortars for great removal, as well as See the Truth. Now, this is a card that is new. This is a card I did not expect, and we get to break it in this deck. We get to break it. So essentially, look at the top 3, put 1 in your hand, and the rest on the bottom. If you cast it from not your hand, so flashback or something like casting it without casting its converted mana cost by cheating it in somehow, you get to draw 3, which tends to be something this deck gets to say a lot. So draw 3 is kind of fun. Thing in the Ice, we play a playset, great creature, just you know how it works. Take off counters, flip the board, win the game. Speaking of draw 3, pitch 2, draw 3, another way to get Phoenix in the yard. We're going to play a playset of Bone Crushers. 1 Anger the God, and then 3 Finale of Promise. And that's how we're going to be flashing back our See the Truth. Our Phoenixes, the meat and potatoes to the deck. 1 Drake, because he can just win you the game. He also cantrips. And then a playset of Treasure Cruise, because draw 3 cards. So, that is the deck. Sideboard, we have an Anger the Gods. We have 2 Abrades. We have a Lofty Denial, which is sometimes, occasionally useful. We have 2 more Mizzium Mortars, a Dispel, 2 Cryptic Serpents in case they try to go long and just try to kill our threats or exile them. We have the Glorybringer, which we would also bring in, along with another Drake, a couple Negates, and Narsets. So, that is that deck in a nutshell. It is kind of a mid-range control-ish deck where you're trying to boost your synergies. You draw a lot of cards. It's sometimes your spells don't look like they're big enough to kill, but with the amount you draw, typically you can make it through. So that's that deck in a nutshell. It's a lot of fun. Next one, we transition down to Blue-White Flyers. So, some Fatal Passages, some islands, some plains, some lands, nothing crazy, some Hollow Fountains. Yeah, so essentially just a mana base. But what's fun is our creatures, right? So we actually get to play cool stuff. Judge's Familiar, playset. Okay, Fairy Miscreant, playset. Cloudfin Raptor, a playset. And the Sailor, playset. So essentially, this lets us play a whole lot of cheap 1-drops, which is very fun and synergistic, and Cloudfin Raptor gets a whole lot of boosts, particularly with this 2-drop, which I think has kind of gone under the radar. So it is an elemental cat. It gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control flying, and you can make more flying cat, bird, creature tokens, which is pretty sweet. So essentially, he gets huge very quickly off of all these. The next one down makes our spells cheaper. All flying spells cost 1 less to cast, and he gets pumped every time a flyer enters the battlefield. Just till the end of turn, but it's still not a bad spell. It's not as good as counters, but we'll take it. We play 2 Selfless Spirit along with a couple Blessed Alliance. Essentially just a way to stall at the board, do some stuff, make them sacrifice an attacking creature, get some value. Some people might say this kind of resembles Blue-White Spirits, which it does. And we just take the good stuff of that and incorporate it into a different, more aggressive type of strategy. Our 3-drops are going to be the Spell Quellers, followed by the Empyrean Eagle. So this is our Lord, pumps the whole team, including our 1-drops. And often with the 3 toughness ends up pumping up Cloudfin Raptor, which is quite relevant. 2 Wingmares, and then we play a Bishop as well. And that's essentially our fire bunch. Our big fancy special spells, we play a D-Sphere for just removal, a Wingmate Rock because it often works and gains us a bunch of life, and the same could be said for Sphinx's Revelation. So that's the Blue-White Flyers deck, with the sideboard essentially having these guys, which gain you a bunch of life in the ETB for each flyer you have. We have the Big Teferi, we have 3 Little Teferis, Baneslayer, and Dispel. Aetherize, great way to just freak them out and make them think that you're going to be exiling their whole board with the white spell, but instead you just return them all to hand. Some Dispels, Supreme Verdict, and more Wingmares. So that's the Blue-White Flyers deck. Last but not least, my personal favorite, and what feels like Jund to me in this format, Black-Red Midrange in Pioneer. So check it out. You go with the playset of Shocks, playset of Blood Chief's Thirst, Fatal Push, and Thoughtseize. The mana base is pretty simple. So you're playing 3 mountains, 4 swamps, playset of Smoldering Marsh, some Blood Crypts, the 1 cycle land, Castle Imbrin, the desert that does damage, and then Dragonskull Summits. So these are fun 2-drops that we can occasionally just interact with if we don't just have removal in hand. So Young Pyromancer, Kroxa, and the new Shade. So far they feel really good, and I like the balance of just having 2 of each. Our 3-drops are where things start to get a bit more fun. We have Light Up the Stage for card draw, another playset of Bonecrusher Giants, a playset of Murderous Riders, 3 Color Guns commands, and then the Bedlam Revelers. So this deck in a nutshell is just trying to grind people out, draw more cards, literally have all the removal and disruption they need. To take out Planeswalkers, we really don't like dealing with Ren Insects, so we're just trying to kill that as quick as we can with Blood Chief. And here's the sideboard. So we have the Purphoros, Despise, playset of Crypt Incursion, Anger the Gods, Goblin Rabblemaster, Culligan, which is appropriate for the Culligan's command, you know what I'm saying? And then the Extinction along with 3 Pithing Needle. Cheers. So that's our Pioneer list at the moment. Feel free to suggest any decks I should build, and I'd be happy to give it a shot.